Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Brand Together Get Together this week. We're going to be talking about marketing strategies for schools during these difficult times. What we've seen in the past few weeks is astonishing with schools and what they've been doing and the resilience they've been able to have and bouncing back from such a difficult time right now. But we've seen a lot that's been going on, and we kind of want to share our thoughts and our ideas. So I'm going to start sharing the screen and going over the slideshow. So I hope everybody likes it. If anybody has questions, just give me a call or email me at jim@peapoddesign.com. So this week's topic is marketing strategies while preparing for next year's budget. Let's see. Peapod Design, I just want to give you a little bit of background. We are a marketing communications firm specializing in schools. Our office works on market research, print materials, view books, annual reports, magazines. We create all our websites using WordPress technology. The difference between that is we don't use WordPress off-the-shelf themes, but we built our own content management system using WordPress technology. So it's completely custom to schools. I'm also a photographer, so I capture many of our clients' day in a life at schools, and we do virtual tours now. And we also created the Brand Together Conference. Each year it's held in Providence, Rhode Island. It's kept small to about 50 attendees, and it's held at the Providence Art Club, and it's just on school marketing and branding. So there's a workshop style conference where there is homework to be done. It's a little bit more intense than your average conference where there's a lot of sessions. This is a very strategically thought out process on how to market schools, and it's a 3-day conference. Everything's included. It's a lot of fun. I also saw this quote. I don't know if I saw it or if I heard it from a school, but we know as a community how to pull together. This is how we rise to a challenge. This is how we handle it. This is who we are. I just thought that was a perfect, whether I saw it in an email or on a quote or somebody said it, I just think it speaks volumes for the school community right now. I also want to talk about bragging versus sharing. I know and understand there is a sensitivity issue when it comes to marketing your school right now. For this reason and for this session, I want to say you are sharing and informing to others how your school has risen to the challenge. You're not bragging. You are being very respectful to the communities that may not be as fortunate as your school. However, there are families that are struggling with the thought of neighbors still attending schools when their children who are at home are not. I was in a meeting with a school the other day who recently spoke with a parent about independent schools and had to educate this mom who had her own view on how they are, how they view independent schools and private schools, and they just thought they were just for wealthy families, and they have always been a public school family. And she went on to say that it was her son that asked her to inquire about them because he knew friends that were still in school attending these independent schools, and he was not. And all he wanted to do was get back to school. So it was kind of an emotional moment for this head of school and the conversation she had. But it was also a reminder that everybody should know that a lot of families don't know that there's an option out there for education, and that there is a lot of independent schools and they're doing a phenomenal job. So keep in mind that some parts of the country have closed their public school altogether for the rest of the school year. Others have even questioned opening it in September. We're not bragging. You're just sharing with families similar to this family that talked about wanting her son to go, about your school. So as you share your success and explain how you are doing, And what you are doing is marketing. So you are marketing, but we're going to think of it as sharing. I also want everyone to know that how and what you did for marketing 6 months ago or a year ago may or may not work today. And the following may not apply to your school solely based on your geographic location or region of the country or the state. How a school markets in Texas is very different than a school that is marketing in New York City. So we all have to be aware of that as we talk in the next hour. Let me see. So I want to get to the chase. Schools not only need to market, you have to, for the success of your school, if you don't think schools are advertising or going to, you're misled. Look at these 3 colleges. iSpot.tv is a great site to look at all types of advertisements that schools and businesses do. So it's a great resource to kind of poke around and see what other schools or what other creative advertising campaigns are going on. So iSpot.tv is a great little resource. But so many people think that, and I also think that, something's happening. And I think in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be one school that's just going to almost break away and start marketing and really market well. It's just, I'm feeling it, and it just feels that's going to start happening. It's because you're all creating such great products and great stories, and you're being extremely successful with this e-learning that it's just bound to go in a direction of a positive marketing campaign. But here you have the state of New Jersey, the Department of Education launched a multi-million-dollar TV advertising campaign last week promoting the success of their public schools e-learning program. Whether it's successful, I'm not from New Jersey, but some people may feel differently. But what's important is that they are spending a lot of money on a lot of local advertising television campaigns about their public school and the success of their e-learning. Penn State launched an impressive television ad promoting the success of Penn State's World Campus division of their university. They focus on regardless of what division the school you graduate from, whether you are all alumni from Penn State. So whether or not you're graduating from Penn State or the World Campus division or continuing ed, they wanted everybody to know that the World Campus division is a very online type of a campus. So they were kind of plugging that, but they were also pointing out that we were all alumni from Penn State. So pointing out how successful their virtual learning is at Penn State. So whether or not, I didn't see the campaign prior to the one I just saw, but I have a feeling they kind of changed, they kept the video the same, the visuals, but they may or may not have changed the audio based on the virtual learning aspect. Capella University, in a current ad campaign, Capella highlights their nursing graduates who are on the front line. It was very effective and extremely powerful. So schools are picking up. They are letting everybody know that there is, schools are still open, and some of them are doing it really well. Peapod design is all about branding schools, about showcasing your differences. With that said, you will continue to market your strengths, but with a twist, with an emphasis on how you rose to today's challenges and the challenge that we are facing now. As we move forward and we talk about print, website, photography, virtual tours, digital marketing and videography, all of that, keep many of these examples in mind. Again, some may apply to your school and some may not, so I want everybody to be aware of that. I also want to keep in mind that focusing on a few things: teachers, college counseling, alumni, and your facilities. So if we there's so many things to talk about at a school, but if we focus on those 4 things, you can start to brainstorm on how it could affect and how you could work it into your school. So with teachers, when we talk to a school community, when we do focus groups with families and students, and we want to learn more about the school, teachers are the top, if not number two, on the list as a strength of your school. Promote them in every way possible. So it's a great way to kind of showcase what they're up to right now, especially the success they're having with so many e-learning situations. So you could very easily do testimonials and a focus on a few of the teachers. You can upload it to your website, create a print campaign or a Facebook advertising campaign about your teachers. College counselors right now, any high schools, if you think about it, one of the number one reasons why families choose your school, they want to start asking you about how are you going to help my son or daughter get into XYZ school. And so that's a very important topic right now, and it's a concern. So you want to address that. And I think college counselors, you should brand this part of your school, the blank college counseling program. So whatever the blank is, whatever your school is, the college counseling program. It is important to highlight each grade level. So what the freshmen are doing, the sophomores are doing, juniors and seniors. This is a huge concern right now, and I'm hearing it a lot with schools. Branding it and highlighting its strengths will point out your value to current families and prospective families. But it needs to be packaged, well organized, and brought into your website. So I've seen a lot of successful websites where they have a specific pull down that answers the COVID-19 concern. And in that pull down, there may be 5, 6, I've seen 10 pages that highlight specific things, the teachers, the courses that you're doing, how you're handling this, the college counseling, all of these things, like testimonials of teachers and parents and students. So you want to really jump ahead of this and get ahead of this rather than kind of backpedal with it. The other category is alumni. So are there heroes within your alumni? Even though Capella University looked to the nurses, don't look for the obvious. You can look for the unusual that will make your reader or your viewer say, wow, this is awesome. That would become very memorable. So you may have an alum that's working, doing something unusual for people during this time, whether it's working in the healthcare or working in creative ways. You want to focus on not just the front lines, but everything that your alumni may be bringing to the table. Your facilities. So many private schools have college level campuses. So many colleges have working cities that are so beautiful, and many public school families are not familiar with the independent school world. That your science rooms are equally impressive, if not more impressive than most schools. Your visual and performing arts facilities are incredible. Your athletic facilities are incredible. Typical classrooms are amazing. Multiple buildings that some of the students, even if you're in middle school or even elementary school, your students walk from one building to another. It's a different vibe, and that's very attractive to a lot of families. So if we want to keep in mind the teachers, college counseling, alumni, and your facilities as we kind of move forward. I want to also divide your admissions marketing into segments. No particular order. This is all alphabetical, so I don't want anybody to jump down my throat and say anything. But there's digital marketing, photography, print, research, videography, virtual tours, and websites. Now until September, we will dive deeper in this as we go along, but I put more weight on specific categories: virtual tours, digital marketing, virtual open houses, parent info sessions, etc. Websites, saying, have a little more importance versus photography or photographing your school that can't be done right now. So there's certain areas that you should put a little bit more weight on right now, knowing that when your budget starts to come out in July, that one of these line items should be photography, videography. So many schools that we come across, marketing is a bad word. They don't like to talk about it. Some schools do not document their schools with photography or videography. And here are the ones that are going to suffer right now because they're trying to showcase their school to prospective families and show what they're all about and how unique and amazing they are. But they don't have photography or videography to do that. So right now we can't do that, but you can capture photos that are authentic. So they may not be professionally done, but you can have your parents and students and faculty members take photos of themselves as they're teaching e-classes and stuff, and post those on an Instagram account or online and stuff, and even on your website. So authentic photos become really popular right now. But to keep in mind that when the budget comes out, I'm telling you, marketing needs to be on top of the list. Market research. Focus groups with current families, newly enrolled families, and prospective families. At this point, virtual meetings are becoming extremely successful. We are all working with a few schools on their current view books right now, conducting focus groups with administration, teachers, parents, students. These are extremely successful and works very much like an in-person meeting. You can also schedule one-on-one meetings with families to hear their concerns and ask for feedback. Documenting all this is key because testimonials are extremely valuable and can be used on your website, social media, ads, print materials, email correspondence with prospective families, all of those things. I have to say, because so many administrations have been so busy, they may not have taken a second to learn about your surrounding competitors. That's both private and public. That's also important. So if you kind of learn about your surrounding competitors, what they may be doing is, and have that kind of in the back of your mind as you move forward. Everything's happening so quick, but you almost have to become, you're going to be experts in all this very quickly. The other thing is reaching out to your teachers and ask them what e-learning has meant to them and what they have done that is positive. Ask them for stories of what their students and parents are saying specifically about their virtual classrooms. Keep in mind that a lot of teachers don't like the word marketing. They don't want to be a part of it. But I always find that if you ask a teacher about their favorite event or their favorite project that they're working on or have worked on in the past, or projects that are coming, they start talking about it a lot. And before you know it, you have a nugget of information that is a great story to tell. So that's marketing, and your teachers didn't even realize that they did it. So, but to ask them for quotes would be great, because you just want to start documenting your school. These are this is an image, the next one is an image. This is what life is going to be like for the next, and what it's been like. We're around the table right now. And so time to talk, or prospective families to talk, and your current families to talk, they're going to bring to the table what their day was like, asking them, how was e-learning? They're going to want to know about if they're getting their money's worth and stuff. So be very careful. Make sure that your students are doing well and your teachers are doing well, because everybody's going to learn about. Here's another one. Game night is going to turn into, this is the new normal for family gatherings around the game table or dinner. Less rushing from one sport to another or one meeting to another. So family time is becoming more powerful than ever before. Print. You may find that view books, brochures, magazines will be welcomed at a time like this. Parents and students have the time to actually sit back and get to know your school. They may pass if they don't currently have marketing materials, your current families, Send them a packet. They may want to give them to a friend or a neighbor. We may be going back to a time where conversations will be powerful. The story of your school, of the school. I had a meeting with the other day when the mom wanted to get to know the private school and how it works, all because her son wanted to go back to school. How did that conversation come about? I asked the head of school that. She didn't know, and that's not really a question, to ask. But from my point of view, it's very interesting. How did that conversation start? Did they? I don't think they were in a car driving around. I think they were probably at the table or, playing cards or a board game. I'm sure it was a very emotional moment. If you've already created new admission materials, I would create a supplementary brochure that supports who you are, but explains how you have how you overcame this current situation and what your school has been doing. Bullet points, every bullet point, everything you are doing, supported by testimonials of parents, students, your teachers that you have gathered up in the past couple of weeks. So as you can see, as you're talking to doing focus groups and talking to teachers, start gathering testimonials because they're going to play a huge role as we move forward. You could have an additional brochure that just praises your teachers and how they have handling the virtual learning. So many stories are coming out of it, and your teachers are going to, I think, finally realize how important marketing is and how they are one of the biggest pieces of it. Does this all look familiar, minus the social distancing? We are on our computers. How does this help admissions? Digital marketing, keeping your site current, creating blogs for families to follow. We're going to be there. So websites, sooner or later, every parent or student that you successfully target will wind up on your website. Sending good traffic to a bad website is not only a waste of time and money, but it can do more harm than good. If they don't like what they see, they won't be coming back. So you have an amazing visual website, rich in content, but is it responsive? So at this time when you're home, I would quickly go through all of your marketing material, especially the website right now, that make sure it's mobile friendly. Now, you would think a lot of schools that may be watching this or on the Zoom meeting right now are maybe rolling their eyes and saying, God, we have a responsive website. But I'm telling you, it shocks us when we don't see their site mobile. And there's a lot of schools out there. I just had a meeting probably 2 months ago with a group of schools, and I brought up during the meeting, I just kind of used one of the attendees as an example of a bad mobile device or mobile design. It was not only bad, but the school is located in Massachusetts, but the school's home mobile page was images of Chicago's skyline. So they didn't even know that it was theirs. They thought I made a mistake and stuff. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And they pulled it up right in front of us, and it was. So they didn't even know that their mobile device didn't even look anything like their current website. So it's very important to do that. And they also didn't have emails. So it was kind of weird. Move the COVID-19 announcement to the top. Don't have it right there, the first thing everybody sees. We all get it. We're already almost 2 months into this. We know what you're doing. So just kind of put it off to the side. Do not say that you're closed unless you are, but just say that you've moved completely online or virtual, because there's a few schools out there that I read it and they're writing the way they describe it was we're completely closed for the school year, and they're not. It's just the way it was worded. Content is king. Not only is it a reason why someone will come back to your site, but as one reason it meets the needs of search engines. So you want to update your site constantly, especially during this time, and tell stories. Add to your website. We are huge on making one or more of your pull downs at the navigation that thing that separates you from everyone else. So why not make one of your pull downs something that addresses what you are doing right now? I mentioned it earlier that there are schools, there's so many examples of very successful schools that are doing this right now. It's just a great way to see how they're doing it. Might as well look at them and see how that works. But in that pull down, don't not just explain what you're currently doing, but like I mentioned earlier, back it up with testimonials, the college counseling tutorials, alumni stories, locals news stories that you might be in the news. Don't be shy about it. Share with the world what your school has been up to, but don't let it get in the way of who you are as an overarching school. It kind of has to feed into your mission and your brand. If you're not blogging, then start. Writing blogs that attract visitors and rank on search engines is all about the quality of your content and best SEO practices. So blogs are interactive and shareable on social media. So right now, everybody's on their at home, on their computers, on their phones. I feel more than ever. And I think blogs are a great way to kind of, that people can share them with friends and colleagues and stuff. Does your site use gravity forms? Forms come in handy when it's time for people to sign up or register. If you're having virtual open houses, I think it's a good idea to have people sign up, and so you can start tracking and stuff. What we would do and recommend, if you have plenty of them, if you have plenty of admissions materials, either leftover or you don't know what to do with, grab their contact information, schedule something a few days from the time they sign up, so you have time to send them a packet of information about your school. The print material will be right in front of them. You can go over it and talk about it so they can kind of visually see what you're all about. Website budgets. Websites are one of the most expensive line item in a school's budget. Evaluate your options. We create all our WordPress or all our websites in WordPress. We've self-proclaimed ourselves the WordPress company for schools because we're doing so many of them. And I think they're taking the independent schools by storm. They're cost a fraction of the price you may be paying right now, and it's more powerful. It's a more powerful product than most CMS systems out there. Something to think about. It's just something, especially as budgets are becoming more and more of a concern. WordPress thrives on benefits versus features. Look that up if you have a minute. It's huge. So if you can look up benefits versus features, that's a great article to look up, especially when it applies to WordPress. Photography. I want to speak to the schools that do not think marketing is important or it's a dirty word. And trust me, there are many schools out there that fall in this category. If you have not documented your school using a professional photographer in the past, this should be your number one line item in your marketing strategy come September. Schools have to document their story. It becomes so important as we are living in a virtual world right now to be able to showcase your schools. I was brainstorming with a school the other day, and email correspondence was a topic we talked about. Here's a chance to target your prospects with images that can populate your email dialogue with that specific family or student. You should create a library of folders for specific photography like sports, art, academics, community service. As you get to know your prospects and you begin an email correspondence, including a collage of 3-4 photos that target that student's profile is huge. And it's not that difficult. It's very easy, actually. And you make that person feel so welcomed. They feel like you know what they're all about, that you have your act together. For example, so if a student A may be interested in field hockey, languages, cooking, performing arts, look in your already organized folders of photos, pull field hockey, academics, cooking facilities, musicals, etc. It is an old world, old-fashioned type of marketing, and does it work? You bet it does. But it makes you realize why you were in admissions in the first place. It is a part of marketing and connecting with people, but you're just connecting a different way right now. But that should not keep you, this should always have been part of your email correspondence with families. So it's one of those things that while we're here at home, and you may even have high school kids or college kids that are at home that could go through your folders and pick out, you know, a gallery of folders of photos or a library of photos that they can create so that they can help you out. So it's a great way. Also, photograph your teachers. When you get back to school, you should photograph the teachers in their setting. I love photographing teachers, not as like a right like a stage shot. It's a stage shot, but I put the background and the backdrop. They're what they're all about and what they're popular for. So here's a couple examples. Like your teachers are amazing. Many of them have fun with it. Sometimes they look scary, but they're really having a lot of fun. And they go a long way with your marketing next year. Again, I want people to keep thinking about what I'm talking about when it's teachers and college counseling and your facilities and alumni. This photo that is done by that we took of a teacher can go so far in your correspondence or in an online advertisement. And right now, your teachers are the hottest thing right now. They always are, but right now they are. Here's another one where this teacher is very well known for ceramics, and he's the focal point. It was just a fun shot. He had fun with it. Virtual tours. This brings me to a next important item in your marketing strategy. It's the virtual tours. And a number one question I receive about virtual tours is why capture your school while it is empty? This is the best time to capture your school. What makes your virtual tour come to life are the photos and videos that will populate your hotspots of your 360 images. So we break it into two definitions. Location, which is where you want to place the 360 image, and the hotspots. And the hotspot can be a photo, a gallery of photos, and videos. And those populate the locations. And that's what brings your virtual tour to life. And that is why schools that have professionally documented your school over the year will be more prepared to talk with families during these unusual times. Oh, the other thing is how long a virtual tour can be. Long enough to showcase your story in your campus. I know there is definitely a magic number, but if you have a phenomenal campus and every corner you go around looks beautiful than the next, trust me, a virtual tour, people can jump on and start it wherever they want. And why not kind of provide a little bit more? I mean, of course, you can't create it so that it takes 30 minutes to go through, but it's something fun. It shouldn't be that long. So if you have the campus, might as well showcase it. Digital marketing. Last week we had Angie and Jake from Enroll Media Group present. I'm not going to talk about digital marketing. They spoke so well on this topic. It is extremely important, and I will send that link to everybody, but the link will be on our YouTube page. It is definitely worth watching. They mentioned two options with digital marketing, free and paid. That was one of their sections. Then gave so many examples of each. They talked about how successful it can be to connect on social media and to make sure it is authentic. Do not filter your photos or comments. Your audience will love how authentic your stories and photos are and will share them. They covered everything. It was a great presentation. And again, it's available on our YouTube page. The other thing is take a look at your emails and how they are returned to someone. Many emails I get say, we are closed due to the coronavirus. You are not closed. Just change that immediately. And I just received one today that said that. And just like your pop-up on your website that says you're closed, the wording of all of these things is so important. So unless you are closed, you are not closed. You just are gone virtual. And same with your email that bounces back to people. It's like you are still working, but you're just working from home. So that's pretty important to address that. Videography. Another area that schools come September should be looking to hire is a videographer. In the meantime, I know Dave Casanave is capturing admission staff and head of school welcoming prospective families onto campus. So he's videotaping heads of school, and virtually that head of school is welcoming prospective families onto campus. So Dave has their talking points about their amazing schools and what their school offers and why their school would be a perfect fit. He's also able to capture drone shots that showcases your campus. Videos are a great way to document your school, but before you jump into random videos, Dave or your own videographer will work with you on the correct videos and the most powerful videos to tell your story. So it's very important to get the right videographer that can help you tell that story and brainstorm before they even come onto campus. So where do we begin? So where do I begin, you're saying? And I kind of put a calming photo down to just kind of take pause for a second. This is very overwhelming. I think a lot of people are working harder than ever, working from home. It's crazy to think all this, but where do I begin? So take a deep breath. That is why I kind of put a Zen image up. We need all the Zen in our lives that we can get. But okay, we had enough of Zen. Time will run out if you let it. So what you don't want to do is feel like you're so overwhelmed. And I know a lot of schools, there's only, you're one person. You're the admissions, you're the communications director, the marketing person, social media, you're even the development person. There's a couple schools that I've seen in the past couple of weeks, and they just look overwhelmed and they don't know where to even begin. So I don't want time to run out and feel like you're behind everything. Give us a call. Ask us any questions that you may have. Ask us what other people are doing. Just if you want to talk for a minute and just kind of explain what your situation is, we can definitely talk you off the ledge and stuff. Excuse me. So week 1 and 2. So I think if you can do this, there's going to be your everyday job that you have to do, and that's taking up 22 hours of your 24 hours. So, but if you can find time in the next week or two, if you haven't done this already, to conduct focus groups with current families, like newly enrolled families and prospective families, inquire about your surrounding competition, talk to your teachers. These are things that we've already talked about, but you want to spend and kind of sit down and have a checklist of things to do. Photos, catalog your current photos into folders. Like I mentioned, arts, athletics, academics, all those. Website, move the COVID-19 announcement. A pull down that is unique to your school. That's a little bit of more work than normal, but it shouldn't. It should take about a day or a couple days to kind of create that pull down. Visit a few sites that you can find out there that do it really well, and then just use them as a template. And also clean up your site. Just start going through it, cleaning it up, making sure you're mobile and your site's responsive. Hire a writer. This is so important to have a writer for your team. It's really, really important because that writer will craft your story, but also be very sensitive on how you are sharing your information. Again, we're sharing. We're not bragging or anything like that. We're sharing. Contact a company for a possible virtual tours. We do virtual tours, and I'm telling you, I've never seen more inquiries about tours in my life. It's crazy, and it's extremely important. That's a project that you can feel like you can get done. Once we're on a campus and I photograph it, it's about 2 to 3 weeks to the final product. Give me a call. We can discuss pricing, but it's definitely a project that you can do and feel like you're getting something done. It's going to be a phenomenal investment for your for for your school, for admissions, for development. It's not that expensive, and it goes a long way. So it's going to become a huge part of your admissions and how you talk to families and how you can refer families to certain areas of your campus. The dialogue and the narrative is going to be very different as we move forward, and the virtual tour is going to play a huge role in that. So give us a call if you want. Review Enroll Media Group's presentation. It will take you an hour, but you'll take a lot of notes. So there's going to be a lot of pausing and taking notes, but it's great. Follow their steps on what to do now that will not cost you anything. They're a phenomenal group to talk to. Reach out to them. They will be more than happy to help you. They're not that expensive, and they're such a powerful part of the team. Contact a videographer that can interview key players at your school. They can do this and still respect the social distancing. So they can make visits to your head of school or the campus, set up a social distancing interviews and things like that. It's very powerful to get it done right and professionally looking, especially if your school is an expensive school to go to. A lot of independent schools are, and the brand is high quality, all that it needs to represent your brand. Week 2+, your website, continue to clean it up. Clean up your website. Begin to create complimentary brochures that stay true to your visual brand, complementing your view books, but highlights how you addressed the issues that we're going through and how you handled the situation. Focus in on teachers, college counseling if you're a high school, testimonials of parents and students and alumni. This is testimonials of parents and students may not be a good one to include in a print brochure, but gathering those testimonials are good for social media and online advertising. But you don't want to create and put something in stone when that parent may leave in the next few months, God forbid. But this will take about 5 to 8 weeks from the beginning to the delivery date. But you want to start creating marketing materials, especially where I hear schools may not be affected so much right now, but come next year, it's going to be, you may see the numbers change. So spend the next year really gathering and figuring out your marketing materials for the coming year. Virtual tours take a few weeks to complete, like I mentioned, but you can begin working on them before anyone captures your campus or arrives on campus. So we get a lot of calls, and we work with schools on their virtual tours where they need it ASAP. Everybody needs everything ASAP. But what you can do is, if that's the case and there's a major concern because they have an event coming up or a virtual open house, you can start on your virtual tours before I even come onto campus, because I have to come onto campus on a sunny day, so we can't control a rainy day or the weather. But you can start sending us photos, the hotspots, the photos, the videos, the narration, and the copy of what those photos may be all about. So we can have all that ready. So when one comes onto campus, or when I come onto campus, I come back, we stitch all the photos together, and we get the tour to you sooner than later. But that's something that you can work on right now. As you get closer to knowing when you will be back in the fall, schedule your photographer and your videographer. Getting on their schedule early is extremely important, because who knows if we will have a second round of a breakout in the fall. You want to capture and document your school. It's so important to do so, and so you can have that material ready to go in January and stuff, when you're marketing to next year, the 2021 group. Oops. Enrollment marketing is an investment. I tell clients each day, your school is a business, you just happen to be in the educational business. We realize schools have limited budgets. I have heard everything from $0 to 5% of your gross tuition income should be spent on marketing. Others look at it at like per student, how much marketing is, but stop thinking of enrollment marketing as an expense and start thinking of it as an investment. So if you're still thinking of marketing as an expense and not an investment, then it's probably an expense. And that's not a good thing. It's definitely an investment. So going back to the marketing categories, I know I may be running out of time, but I want to say a couple things and ideas. Again, these are just alphabetical. They're nothing, anything, but it just kind of breaks out what you should do now until September and then the start of the school year, how much emphasis should be put on each. I'm going to stay here. I believe independent schools have an enormous opportunity to tell their stories to families and that are not familiar with independent schools and are willing to listen. But first, look at your past year's budget, not just for marketing, but other expenditures. I was talking to a school not like about a week ago, and they were saying how so much of their money that they have to spend by the end of the year has been freed up, and they can allocate their money towards marketing if they have to. But this is now totally different and unique. So you may have used money for classroom trips and supplies, projects, the energy to heat your building or cool it, the electricity, cafeteria, all those that have not been used. Is that money lost if not spent? So you may have wiggle room in the budget to do little projects right now. Look to other schools. Are there schools similar that are part of your overarching organization, like faith-based schools? Can you pool your money to have greater purchasing power? So some of the dioceses that we work with, they could be creating a brochure that's highlighting the 15 diocese schools, or create virtual tours highlighting many of the schools. This will help their brand, their school's brand, their type of school that they are. Things like this or you may have a feeder school that's going into that's feeding into your school. One great way to market is to reach out to them and say, we're here for you if you need us. Last week, there was a meeting on virtual graduations, or 2 weeks ago, and a great idea was for high schools to reach out to some of the feeder schools and say, we have an orchestra, we have a band, we have a choir, and our music director can virtually stitch all this together and give you a nice closing ceremony. If you have closing ceremonies for your 8th graders, they can, supply the music and the band and the singing and stuff. So it was just a great way to kind of reach out to your fellow schools. And before you know it, you're now looked at as a pretty popular option for those families. So thank you again, and stay tuned for other Brand Together get-togethers each Wednesday. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. The other thing is our Brand Together conference each year. This year we're having it in August, August 19th, 20th, and 21st. And also, if you have any questions, give us a call, jim@peapoddesign.com. Honest to God, reach out to us with any questions. We're more than happy to help you. Thank you so much. Good luck, and I'll talk to you soon.